So, hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you once again for attending and joining our webinar on what is new in SDC Verifier 2024 R2. I see a lot of familiar faces, as well as I see some new people joining us today, all from our customers, users, partners, but also the people I don't know yet. So today I'm going to focus on the features that are implemented in the newest version of SDC Verifier. But if you want to get an introduction on complete list of SDC Verifier features, or if you want to have a general intro, please don't hesitate to, well, go to our website. There is an automatic recording of introductions like that, but we can make a custom one for you to match your needs. So once again, my name is Oleh Ishchuk. I am in charge of operations at SDC Verifier, and today we are going to speak about what is new in SDC Verifier 2024 R2. Let's quickly go through the agenda. There is a couple of slides I would like to show you at the beginning. So we started already with an introduction. We will speak about the new supported versions of the FEA software in SDC Verifier. I will show the new standards and indicate what new codes we have implemented in the software. I will explain a little bit about the changes in loads and combinations and demonstrate to you the automatic loading combinations that we have implemented. We will speak about new feature of searching the parameters in checks that will help you to understand your calculations and guide you through the formulas quicker and easier. I will show you new help of SDC Verifier, so new help page. We will speak about changes in 2025 because there will be a couple of major modifications next year. And I will show a demonstration of the interface on an example of SDC Verifier standalone. But again, everything that we are going to show and you're going to see today, it does work in SDC for Ansys, SDC for Femap, SDC for Simcenter, as well as SDC Verifier standalone. And we'll have some time for Q&A in the end, so please don't hesitate to type your questions into the message box and I will be able to answer them. Please be aware that there is a slight delay between me speaking and seeing the messages. So don't wait till the last second to send your messages. If you have any questions, put them into that Q&A box or chat box that you have in the interface of this webinar tool. All right, so first and foremost, as always, new version of SDC Verifier does support the newest versions of FEA software. SDC Verifier 2024 R2 works well with Ansys 2024 R2, works well with Siemens Simcenter Femap 2406, as well as Simcenter 3D 2406. So if you have not updated or upgraded to the latest versions of the FEA products, please do so, and SDC Verifier does support these versions, as well as all of the previous versions. You could see on our website the list of the supported versions. We do support Femap since version like 10.3, Ansys from version 19, and about 10 past years of different versions of Simcenter. So it's still being supported, but of course it's always recommended to upgrade to the latest version. Let's speak about new standards in SDC Verifier. In this release, we have added a couple of codes. One of them is ASME BTH-1 for the design of below-the-hook lifting devices. A lot of customers and users of SDC Verifier design different kinds of lifting equipment, and for that we have important codes like EN 13001, FEM 001, AISC rules, Eurocodes, etc. But now we also enhance that with a new code of American Society of Mechanical Engineers for design of the below the hook lifting devices. So all kind of hooks and spreader beams are covered by the standard. For now, we have a member check, and we are also continuing developing, and we are also adding new checks there. So this code will be expanding. We have added new plate buckling rules of DNV. So DNV CG 0128, one of the long-term requested codes, now is finally included in the library of SDC Verifier. So if you work with DNV, this is now in the library already since yesterday. And we have enhanced our AISC member checks with more cross sections. Now T-shape is also available. It was not in the list of standard shapes that are supported to be checked. Now it is there. We are also working on enhancing this and adding more cross sections. So almost all of the general shapes are supported by AISC and Eurocode, and those few that are not double symmetric and were not in the library of SDC Verifier is now going to be upgraded over this and the next version. Another thing that we have added, which is partly related to standards, is a possibility to build automatic loading combinations. If you have used SDC 2024 R1, and if you have, or if you have been to our previous What's New webinar, you might have seen that we have launched the feature of building automatic load cases. We have that for Eurocode 0 as well as EN 13001. And in this version, we have added this to American standard, ASCE 7. It is pretty common, and a big percentage of our users asked about this. Do you guys automatically combine the loads according to ASCE 7? Now we do, and I will show a demonstration of this automatic load combinations to you today. Next feature that was added is the possibility to search for a specific parameter and references where is it actually used in standard. So you can select this option, click on specific parameters, and then find the references in the formulas to where it's actually used. So you can see if you change something, what will it affect. We'll show it during the demonstration as well. Improvements were done also to a panel finder. We have added new features and new functions to panel finder, and one of those is a possibility to split a panel into plates whenever it is not fully covered by another intersecting panel. So often you have some cutouts and often you have some holes because of to avoid stress concentration or so. So nowadays, even if this holes are modeled in the system, and if these holes are there, it's going to be possible in the settings to set up the percentage of the value of length covering the plate to be splitted. So if before there was not full coverage, it was never split automatically. Now it is going to be split if in the settings it's defined to be set for a certain percentage. Next upgrade and update is a modification of our online help. This page has slightly changed. Now you can easily select a product for which you are searching for help. So is it SDC Verifier or SDC for Femap, Ansys, and Simcenter? And you can also go through previous versions of help. So if you're using a specific version, I'm not upgraded yet, and want to see support for that version, maybe in an older interface, it is possible to access and to see that. But most important is search. There was no search on our help page, and you had to navigate yourself through the tree to find an item which you would require, or run the search from the app to land on a specific page. Now you can run a search and see exactly what, find exactly what you're interested in. Now about what is going to come next. We already started working on this, and and this is finished for internal development, but we are working on testing and implementing this. It's a possibility, well, it's a new licensing model, because up till the end of this year, it will remain the same. You have a license key, which is a file which is sent to your IT administrator, and you're just selecting the path to file and able to use SDC Verifier. We are switching into login credentials model, which will be allowing you not to search for a file and ask your colleagues, where do I get this SDC Verifier licensing file? It will get to a possibility to log in with your credentials, and more importantly, log in. This will allow login from any device. So if you know your email and password, you can click on Remember Me, of course, and you are able to log in from any device. Since these users will be created and it will be possible to see it, you will have a list in Licensing Manager where you will be able to see your colleagues who are currently utilizing the software and what are the licenses available and how many of them are available. So there is plenty of benefits for you. We are now testing this, and this is going to be live for everyone in 2025. If you are willing to switch this as a part of early adopter and beta testing, we are glad to provide you with a license to try this method, because it allows extra flexibility for you. So this is what is coming, as well as I wanted to point out what are the next standards that are going to be available in SDC Verifier in the future. This is a short list of the codes that we will be working on in the next release. So if you see something in there and you're interested in this, please send me an email afterwards, or let me know that you are interested in this code, so we can work together on benchmarking, checking, provide you an early access to that, and so on and so forth. So there will be improvements in weld strength checks for different types of welding. There will be also, as I mentioned already, more cross sections in the libraries of member checks like AISC and Eurocode. We will continue on developing ASME BTH-1 also for fatigue. We will work on developing the new versions of ISO joint checks, new version of FKM, a new method for DNV RPC 201. You can see plenty of DNV codes here also for offshore structures, for fatigue and for plate buckling as OSC 101, 201, standard 126, DNV RPC 202, etc. We will also enhance the library of our plate buckling codes with Lloyd's Register and Common Ship Rules plate buckling. Latest version of API RP2A has to be added. So just to, we already have this code, but 22nd version was released, and we need to add this, as well as IIW fatigue. So this is our focus for the future and coming versions. If you have some codes that you're missing in SDC, I'm always asking this. It's now a good time to add your comments and to mention, guys, we will need this, or we are using those codes and it's not yet in the library of SDC Verifier. So please let us know what you would like to have. And last thing in terms of presentation before we go into demo is I wanted to let you know that next week we are going to have a training on SDC for Femap. It is a group training which will include multiple people from different industries and different countries. But the general idea is that we will enhance the knowledge of SDC for Femap for our current users. We will add more information about compatibility of SDC and Femap. Me and my colleague Michal, we are going to guide you through recognition tools, through custom checks, through modifications, and how to effectively operate not only with basics features, but with advanced features of SDC Verifier. Intense 6-hour course, which will start at 10 a.m. Amsterdam time, but also there will be recording available. So it is still possible to register for that. And yeah, please do so if you're interested in SDC Verifier for Femap. And now let's go to the demonstration. Today, as I mentioned, I'm going to show everything in SDC standalone interface, SDC Verifier. But anything that you see is, of course, also working with SDC for Ansys, SDC for Femap, and SDC for Simcenter 3D. The benefit of this is, of course, you have a graphical interface right inside of SDC, and that is your source of results, but it's completely identically compatible with Ansys, Femap, and Simcenter 3D. All right. So what I wanted to show to you today is first and foremost the new codes. Maybe I will. Well, let's explain our model a little bit. I'll turn the thickness off so you will see. This is a model of simple structure, kind of an offshore mud mat with plates at the bottom to be able to run plate buckling checks and weld checks, as well as bolted connection between these panels over here. And also there is a part of the beam model for beam buckling checks, and it has multiple different types of loadings. So this is our general model for sorry. This is our general model for multiple different demonstrations of complete capabilities of SDC Verifier. Speaking of standards, so what we have done is, if you go to AISC 360 check, it has been created already by me. If you don't remember or need a refresher, the library of SDC Verifier is available in this standards tab, where you can pick from ABS, AISC, API, ISO, DNV, Eurocodes, and other codes. The library currently consists of, I believe, about 45 different standards, and ever growing. So you've seen what we're working on to add. So one of the new features of AISC is a possibility. If you go to checks now, you would see that geometrical characteristics for these sections has been added. So the shape, which is pretty well simple geometrically, is not that easy to calculate. But it is now included with complete calculation of that, so you can include that in your analysis, in your calculation. This is just an enhancement of existing code. So either AISC 360 of version 2010 or 2022, both of them are upgraded with this feature. Let's go to new standards now. So one of them is ASME BTH-1. So what would be possible is, what is also interesting, that we have implemented 3 versions of this standard. They are almost identical because there was no significant changes in terms of structural engineering checks. But if your structure is designed with an older version of the standard, you might still want to use the older version for verification. So 3 versions are available, so don't hesitate, and you're welcome to work with all of them. I'll use the latest one, ASME BTH-1 2023. You have a brief description which chapters are included in this code for design of the below the hook lifting devices. And as usual, you have a small dialog window to fill in the information which affects the analysis. So the section built up type. So you can say if everything is built up or rolled. Let's say built up to, let's say rolled to everything, to all. Then you have a section net area. Of course, everything is always having a description from which paragraph in the standard it is taken and what is the default value. So I'm not going to go through all of them because everything is always having the explanations and descriptions from where it is taken. And as you remember, in SDC, it's possible to load the information from the default settings. By clicking on this green button, you're filling in all the default information. And as you can see, 17 shapes are supported. So I'm pressing OK, and the standard is created. As all of the codes in SDC Verifier, it is completely open, so all of the checks are there and all of the checks are open and editable. So if you want to see how the actual compression is calculated, you click on Edit and you see from which paragraph it is taken, what is the parameter you are calculating, and where is and how it is calculated. Moreover, I mentioned the new feature, let's go to that right now, is the possibility to select the parameter and see where it is used. So for example, excuse me, I'm clicking on this and I can select a parameter like, let's say, slenderness ratio X, pressing OK. And you could see that this parameter is used in check number 6, standard number 6, check number 8, as well as check number 15, and in which specific formula it has been used for calculation. So if you would modify something, how and where it would affect the calculation. You can also copy this information to clipboard to search in the standard later. Okay, this is one of the modifications we've done, and super quickly running the check. This is purely focused on beam elements and on the equipment like spreader beams or so. So it will do the checks for the top structure. Let's select the criteria plot, and under, let's say, the loading group of operations, we would plot the overall utilization factor, as well as you can check only tension, bending, shear or compression, etc. I will do the overall check for all the shapes on that loading group 2, and clicking on preview. When doing that, SDC Verifier is running the checks. I'm not sure if my model was calculated already, so this is taking some time for running the first analysis, the first checks. Right, we have results already. It is pretty bad, as you can see, in terms of the utilization factor, but the structure is not specifically what is to be calculated with the standard. Again, it's for kind of a spreader beams and under the hook lifting devices. So let's go back to the results. I will close this plot. So we'll go back to show the complete model. You can do this by clicking this button. And also I will do the text off. Maybe we want to have a nice plot, so we'll color with property colors to go back to a nice view. Okay, so ASME BTH-1 for members is included. And then the other code that we have added is plate buckling. So we go to DNV, plenty of different DNV codes are there. And for DNV plate buckling, we also have two versions, is 2015 and 2023. Let's use the latest one. There are a couple of parameters, even less than in the member check. You have to pick the assessment method, which is explained always. So you would see that this is from section 323, and what should be the C1 coefficient value. So you can pick it up over here for all entities or for a portion of the model. What is also possible to set is always a thickness factor, and to see if you would like to use the plate average stress or maximum on plate. Let's use plate average stress. Let's fill in all the information by default. As always, use the plate average stress and press OK. Standard is created and it's added to the library. I think I have already calculated that standard over here. So we will quickly run the buckling plot just to demonstrate. For the previously saved plots, you can just, as I did, execute the right click on the check and or on the plot and press preview. You can see it's pretty dark with the fillet edges, so I'm turning off the fillet edges. and you can see the plates being recognized and how the results have been. So what would be the buckling utilization factor? It's 0.5, so we are more than safe with buckling issues for this model. And speaking of this, I would like to indicate this new option that I have been showing with my slides. So if you go to recognitions, don't forget that we have one button to recognize all, which is pretty powerful for models like this, where you have beams and plates and bolts and welds, everything all together. You don't have to recognize them one by one anymore. You just click one button, find all, and everything is recognized automatically with listing in the end what was detected by the software. But going to panel finder, if you would go to settings here, you will have a couple of new parameters, and this is use panel recognition option, which will automatically lengthen panel even if there is a dummy panel or dummy stiffener included, if it covers more than 80% of the lengths. So if, going back to my slides, if the not this presentation, sorry. Going back to my slides, if the panel is covering more than 80%, it will be automatically split into two separate panels for the checks. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show to you today before we go into Q&A is automatic loading combinations. So we were speaking about standards, plenty of new standards in SDC Verifier, as well as enhancement to existing ones. But the nice thing there is also available in SDC is loading combinations. As you remember, we have a logic of individual loads, which are single actions, then the load sets, which are linear combinations of those individual loads. So as you can see, we have 9 different loads and 28 different combinations, and then load groups, which are envelope set of results to see the worst possible scenario and overall maximum. What is also possible is to build a predefined load cases. I already have done some in this model, but we can of course start from scratch. So what is possible is to execute the right click on this predefined load cases and click add, and the software will allow you to pick a standard to build the loading combinations of your individual loads completely automatically. As you can see, we have a couple of standards, and now we would want to use ASCE 7 LRFD method. You can give it a title, or the title would be as default. So let's say automatic ASCE 7 combinations. You can also include some description. So software knows all the combinations by the standard, as well as partial safety factors and load factors, but software does not automatically understand what type or category of load is your individual load or FEM load. So you need to explain this information to SDC. So gravity is dead load. Acceleration, in our case, would be, let's say, seismic loads, as well as acceleration in Y direction and acceleration in Z direction. So this is all seismic loads. Top force is part of the operational loads. So we have live loads here, L. Side force in X direction is also part of the live loads. Side force in Y direction would be also part of live loads. And then we have wind, which is wind. You can also see that it is different depending on the different zones, but we'll use the average, the regular one, W, which is a wind load. Then the safety factors, you could see here the different combinations, what are the partial load factors according to AISC. But you might want to introduce your own factor. So it is possible to put here your own factor of multiplying. And the next column is position, which means you often have different positions of the live loads. If you speak about some structures where you have a traveling load, or when you have a live load in different locations, you might want to include it separately in a separate position. So what is possible is to select everything and define a position as 1, apply to selected. But if I would want to have separate combinations for side force in X and say side force in Y, I would put a position 1 here and position 2 here. Also, you can include logic load combinations, so positive and negative values of both of that forces. So as you can see, pretty much I try to explain as much as possible here, but what you would need to do is just to define the category to your load, so software understand what is that dead load, live load, and what is the type of this FEM load that you have in your model. And then make sure that checkbox create load combination is active and click OK. After I have clicked that, as you can see, we already had 28 combinations in our model, but combinations from 29 up till 55 is automatic combinations according to LRFD method of ASCE 7. What you can do is execute a right click over here and select create edit multiple to see those combinations. I would scroll slightly down. So here are all of our automatic AISC combinations where gravity is included with a factor of 1.2 for all of the cases except load case 6 when we have wind, and the gravity is 0.9 and the winds are included. Also, we have seismic cases, so load case 5A and 5B, with including the dead load, seismic loads, and live loads, as well as we have the combinations with live load with factor of 1.6, with winds included, etc. So all of the combinations are automatically built according to standard, and we have a couple of this. This is, though, still editable. So if you don't, if you want to include the changes and you think, okay, 1.6 is on a high side here, then select all of them, set a factor of 1.5, click on set, and make the necessary adjustments. Of course, all of the combinations are always editable as anything in SDC Verifier. So in this point, we this is what I wanted to show you regarding SDC Verifier. Interfaces, once again, everything I showed works both for Ansys, Femap, Simcenter, and SDC Verifier. And now I'm going to go through the list of your questions in the Q&A section and in the chat box and answer those. So first question was, will this webinar also be recorded and available for others not attending? Yes, this is automatically recorded, and if you have registered for the webinar, you can access it on demand later on. It will still be available for you, and you can share it with your colleague. I see Bogdan has also already replied to this question. Second question was, this interface looks like Femap. Is a Femap license required when using standalone SDC? Okay, thank you for this question. For SDC Verifier standalone, we use the OEM of the well-known manufacturer, which you already see, and it does not require any extra licenses. You can use SDC licensed only by SDC Verifier. So for those who don't have Ansys, Femap, or Simcenter, this option is fully tailored for you. It does have Simcenter Nostrum embed into it, and it does have all the functionalities for geometry import, meshing. Moreover, we can license it by type of element. So if you need only beams of this version, you can have a specific version of SDC Verifier. I would do a plot of everything. You can have a specific version of SDC Verifier which will support only checks on beam members, only the 1D elements for meshing, for modeling, for analysis, etc. Then you can have beams and plates, and then you can have beams and plates and solids. So if you would like to try that, Yoram, please send me a message and we can share you a license of this software. It does not require a specific extra licenses of any other software. Then there is a question from Albert. Is Bureau Veritas plate buckling available in SDC Verifier? Yes, if you would go to the standard section and select other, there is BV NR615 plate buckling. It has been added in one of the previous releases, and it's pretty similar code to what we have in terms of plate buckling. You can identify a couple of settings, define all of them, and click on add, and BV NR615 is available, where you can study the formulas of the analysis of this check. Okay. Another question is, it looks like the ASCE load combination functions, you can also input your own factor. Do I understand correctly? I can also create my own load factors and combinations, including DNV LRFD. Of course, yes, it is possible to, it's not mandatory to create combinations with these functions. So I already showed that you can modify ASCE, but it is of course possible to do load sets, create, edit multiple, and start inputting your own factors. So let's say I want to add 5 more cases. Click on add. And here are my load sets, 56, 57, so 56 to 60. I will include the gravity with, let's say, a factor of 1.1, set. You just click and type in the coefficient. Acceleration was a factor of 1, for example, everywhere. And then top force was a factor of 2 everywhere. And that's the logic. With a simple matrix, you are building linear loading combinations for unlimited amount of scenarios. And for example, if your load is, what you can also do, you can copy and add an extra, or let's say add one more. Did I do that? Yeah, 61, and copy these values from here, paste it here, and I don't know my exact value of top force. So maybe the factor have to be not 2, but 64. It is possible to save time on analysis because it's done after the solver. It's just multiplying the outputs with the coefficient and the partial load factors. So yes, it is possible, and this is one of the very strong features. It's not necessary. If you want to include DNV LRFD in the automatic way, we can of course study that and try, but you can of course do that yourself. This is fully possible. Next question is from Joshua, is can I try SDC standalone and compare with my current AirStop results? Yes, of course. Please send me an email or send an email to support@sdcverifier.com, and we will provide you with a free trial license for 15 days. And we have some benchmarks of comparisons with different structural engineering tools, as well as examples of code checking. So please send me a message after the presentation, and we will guide you through this evaluation process. And another question is, can I do ASCE 7 in Ansys with SDC? Yes, these combinations are the same for everything. In Ansys, you would use your single step results as individual loads, and then you can combine them linearly into load sets, as I just shown. So it's working exactly the same in Ansys, in Femap, Simcenter, and SDC Verifier standalone. I think I covered all of the questions from chat box. In Q&A, there is no more questions. Yeah, I think I have covered all of your questions. If there are any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I was planning just to fit this presentation into 40 minutes, which I think is we have successfully managed to do. One more question is, does the automatic load combination still work if I change my individual loads? So when I have new results, currently with new results, individual loads, I have to recreate my load combinations. This is a good question. It reads the individual load ID. So individual load is the combination. Let's click like this. Individual load is the combination of FEM load by ID and the constraint. If you have modified your load by just changing the magnitude or by changing the location, the combinations will still work. But if you go to FEM load, go to your gravity, body loads, edit, and change it from 981 into 10, and press OK, you will have to rerun the analysis. So go update the model, clear the calculated results, and recalculate the model, but you will not have to recreate your loading combinations. This updating might take a while because there is a lot of results. But if you have changed the ID of your FEM load, so if instead of load 1 gravity, you have created another acceleration with load 27, then you would have to go into your load combinations, so click on create, edit multiple, and use, instead of individual load 1 gravity, your new one, individual load 57 gravity. So if IDs of FEM loads remain the same, there is no need to change load combinations. If IDs of the FEM loads are changing, then you would have to use that or replace. For example, if I go to gravity, click on edit, and pick, okay, instead of this load, I'm now using my new one. Then you don't need to modify the combination. So there is definitely a way to avoid recreating all of your load combinations. If you need help with this, please send a message to support@sdcverifier.com. Thank you, Yoram, specifically for your very precise questions. It's very nice to have such an engaged audience. And I'd like to thank everyone for your time, for joining this session, and let you know that we are always available and we are always at your service to provide you with extra information about SDC Verifier, any kind of help or support. So please don't hesitate to contact us. All the contact details are on our website. You can also find me by oleg@sdcverifier.com or by phone number on your screen, as well as you can send a message to support@SDC Verifier, and that will be immediately answered by our support team. Thank you very much for joining us today. This session will be available for on demand. So if you want to get back to this, of course, it is possible. And we're looking forward to working with all of you in the future. Thanks again, and goodbye.